Well, Robbie Stammers is back in studio with us this evening, and he's the publishing editor of the Intrepid Explorer with the tagline, Live the Life of Adventure. And the last time he joined us, he'd been off to New York for his first trip there. But now we're going to talk to him about his African honeymoon. He's recently got married, so congratulations on that. But he's had a fabulous time travelling around. Well, there were times that weren't quite so fabulous, but we'll get to that. But Robbie, welcome back to the show.
Thanks very much. Lovely to be here.
First of all, congratulations on the nuptials.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Right,
yes.
well, newly married is a wonderful experience.
Yes,
so
I'm a kept man now.
You're a kept man. And you had this wonderful honeymoon. So tell us, where did you start it off on the Blue Train?
Yes, we did. It was absolutely wonderful. My wife, as I must get used to saying now, had no idea where we were going. I just told her to pack her bags and make sure she had her passport, and she got quite the fright when we were driven and drove past the turn-off completely through her, and we arrived at Adderley Street train station and went into the Blue Train, the VIP lounge. And the Blue Train is just really, I recommend that everybody has to do it once in their life, and it was the most wonderful experience.
What was so wonderful about the Blue Train? Other than the luxury and the sumptuousness
of
it all, I'm sure.
Exactly. It's just lavish and luxurious, and there's something about traveling by train, especially besides how beautiful the Blue Train is itself, just actually, being able to sit with the motion of the train and watching places like the Hexeter Valley and the Karoo go by. It's just, it's completely different to even any self-drive or other mode of transport.
So how many nights were you on the train?
Just one. We took the Blue Train from Cape Town to Pretoria, so you leave early on the one morning and you arrive in Pretoria just after lunch the next day. Okay,
and right, so that wasn't it. What happened when you got to Pretoria?
Pretoria, we took the Gautrain to Joburg, to Tambo, and from there we flew off to Vic Falls, and from Vic Falls we then took transit over the border, which the Vic Falls was in full flood at the moment, so it was absolutely stunning. I don't think there can be any better border crossing from Zimbabwe to Zambia. There can't be anything that competes with it in the world when you're traveling over Vic Falls. And from there we went into Zambia and went to Royal Chindu, which is on right. I mean, you couldn't get more on the Zambezi if you tried.
So do you do all those sort of extravagantly dangerous adventures, or were you just too newly married to go and put your life at risk there?
No, we did. We went white water rafting, which was absolutely spectacular. Not as hairy as I think it is at other times of the year, because the Zambezi was in full flood, so the rapids weren't as scary as they
I would have thought it would be more scary with all that water.
No, not too bad, actually.
Okay.
But it was
you survived,
absolutely wonderful.
Here.
Yes, still here.
Great.
And Royal Chindu is, I've been very blessed to have travelled a lot in my life, and I think I can say with complete faith that it's probably the best place I've ever been. It really is absolutely breathtaking. And they have a river lodge, but they also have an island lodge, and that's where we were lucky enough to be going. So you take a boat from the river lodge and you take a boat to the island lodge, and we had an entire island to ourselves, which your room is right on the water. And when we got there was a outside bath waiting for us. So you literally sit there with your champagne in your bubble bath on the side of the Zambezi with fish eagles. And I mean, it really just it doesn't get better than that.
You've scored serious brownie points here. I mean, you now have to improve on this. Every anniversary is going to have to be better than this.
I know.
Is that possible
now?
I
think I overshot the mark.
Just thinking you better start planning now. I know you're just married, but the 1 year anniversary is going to come up quite soon. You're going to have to better yourself here. Right, after you were on the island, where then? You went off to Tongabezi.
Yes, Tongabezi. Also on Zambezi, literally about half an hour back towards Vic Falls from Royal Chindu. And they've also got an island there, which is Sindabezi, which is closer to the Zim side of Vic Falls. So you actually have the luxury of having all of the game that you normally see on the Zim side from the Sindabezi Island. And we were one of 4 honeymoon couples who were there, so it was actually quite fun. All the girls swapped notes on weddings, and we took sunset cruises all along the riverside where we saw giraffe and hyena and lots of bird life. That was our first night, and then our second night we went back to the mainland Tongabezi, where we stayed in an aptly named place called the Nut House. And we had our own little plunge pool that had sort of cascaded over the edge, and you could sit in the pool and literally just look at the whole Zambezi in front of you. It was quite magic.
You did some rather dangerous canoeing, from what I gather.
Yes, we did. My wife is not scared of any creepy crawlies or anything, but the only thing she does have a fear for is crocs. And we were taken to our destination by boat where we were going to be canoeing from, and then the guide explained to us the rules and regulations. And one rather daunting thing was, he said that the crocs can be very inquisitive, so don't be surprised if they come right up next to the canoe. And my wife was almost ready to actually ask if we could go back to the main lodge, but by then we were committed, so we got into, and it's not the inflatable rafts that we had done, the whitewater rafting. It's those small, rather flimsy and unbalanced canoes. So it was rather...
No, I would have gone back to the lodge, I'm afraid. What
Well,
about but the hippos as well?
Yes,
I mean, those are quite dangerous.
We actually came between a hippo and her calf, and the guide who was in the canoe next to us, we could see when he started to get nervous and told us to paddle for our lives, we definitely knew that we had to. So we did come across one or two hippos and crocs, but in the end we got safely back to the lodge, so all's well that ends well.
Oh, no, that would have totally freaked me out. Right, so after all of that, you went where? You went back into Zim after that?
Yes, went back over Vic Falls and went to the Stanley in Livingston, which is literally about 10 k's from the falls itself. And it was actually a lovely part of the trip as well, because it was so different. We had been on the Zambezi at Royal Chindu and Tongabezi, and now we were having more of a game experience, where Stanley Livingston is Big Five game lodge, and it's beautifully it's done up so colonial, you would actually think that you've sort of taken a step back in time. And we had the honeymoon suite, which had its own little jacuzzi overlooking the waterhole right on the lodge, which was beautiful.
Wonderful.
So we had a different experience there, where we actually went on a lot of game drives. We saw some lovely game. Had a bush bride at the Lapa that evening with they had a wonderful Zim band that came in and did sort of authentic Zim dancing and music, which was lovely. And then the second night they gave us a dinner in the wine cellar there, which was stunning. So the 2 nights at Stanley Livingston, we actually were away from the river and doing all the game drives and everything, which was lovely.
And then, I said at the beginning that there was something that wasn't quite that fabulous. You were going to go off on the Pride of Zambezi houseboat, which just is amazing.
Yes, I was...
But you didn't quite get there.
No, unfortunately... Life happens while you're making plans. And we, naively, I imagine, but we weren't given a due warning. We left Stanley Livingston to head up to the Chobe, where we were, as you say, going to be going on to the Pride of Zambezi.
This is in Botswana now.
In Botswana. Was actually in Namibia. We were having to go through Botswana for about a 20-minute trance drive.
Cross-country
yes.
thing, yeah.
So we took our vehicle all the way up there, and then when we reached the Botswana border, we were met by our driver, who was going to be taking us to the Pride of Zambezi. And we went into the border post, and they turned us away very adamantly, because my wife was on a temporary passport. And with much wailing and gnashing of teeth, or she was crying and I was trying to be as charming as possible, we were having absolutely no joy whatsoever. In fact, they proudly told us we were the third South African couple they had turned away that week. So unfortunately...
And this was a 20-minute sort of...
It was a 20... I mean, we were literally driving through...
part of Botswana to get to the other side,
yes.
which would have cut out how many hours or days driving to get back to Namibia?
Yeah, almost a day and a half if we'd gone all the other way around. So unfortunately, we had to forfeit our 2 nights on the houseboat. There was just no ways. We only had 2 days left, and the 2 of those days would have been spent predominantly driving if we had to go all the way around. So
after this disaster, what did you do?
I frantically called Royal Chindu, which had been our first and favorite stop, and desperately asked if they actually had any vacancies, and they were wonderful and said, please come back home.